Oh, that's me. Hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey. Ooh, it's a lot going on. Jesus, Lord, help me. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. There's a lot going on. I say a lot. Lord, mercy.
Of closing arguments today. The move was made as part of an effort to court past 3 months, but I'm here. Let's get started with the news yesterday that the feds were withdrawing some of the criminal allegations against Combs ahead of closing arguments today. The move was made as part of an effort to quote-unquote streamline instructions to the jury. Break this down. What exactly happened there, and what does it mean?
They are saying they're not going to argue the attempted sin and the attempted kidnapping parts of this case. Now, I want to specify, this does not apply to the arson that's being alleged against Kid Cudi's car. So that
BC News. You can also
Hey, Shelly Shell.
hosting Sports Center on ESPN. Please welcome back to the show the one and only Ryan Smith. What's going on, Ryan? How are you doing?
Got to put in a little bit of work over here. Lord, have mercy.
I'm tired as hell, but it's always good talking to you, my brother. I've been working like crazy for the last 3 months. But
Thank you, Precious. I greatly appreciate you.
Yesterday, the feds were withdrawing some of the criminal allegations against Combs ahead of closing arguments today. The move was made as part of an effort to quote-unquote streamline instructions to the jury. Break this down for us, please. What exactly happened there, and what does it mean?
They are saying they're not going to argue the attempted arson and the attempted kidnapping parts of this case. Now, I want to specify, this does not apply to the arson that's being alleged against Kid Cudi's car. So that's one that I think a lot of people know about, that they've heard about, that's attracted a lot of attention. That's still going to be part of what they're arguing. But what they're trying to do, this kind of, to me, relates more to the RICO case than anything else. In a RICO case, which is the big charge against Sean Diddy Combs, you have to bring in all this evidence, all this information. You're trying to basically say, Diddy and somebody else or other people, maybe his entourage, other people in his orbit, got together, committed 2 crimes, at least 2 crimes in a 10-year period in furtherance of the criminal enterprise.
They did more than 2.
But the problem is they've offered so much information in this thing that they have to try to streamline things for the jury. They have to. This is why in this kind of case, closing argument becomes everything. Because you have to take all this evidence, all this information, all these witnesses, and you got to show that RICO. You've got to show
they showed it.
Got together. They
showed it
more in this period of time. But after you start throwing in attempted arson, attempted kidnapping, and you don't think you have a good case against that, you run the risk of the jury saying, well, I don't believe those things, so I don't believe the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Instead, they're focusing a lot on bribery as some of the crimes committed. They're going to probably talk about Kid Cudi's car. They're talking about things like drugs and things like that. All these things are the crimes they're saying are part of RICO, are part of the sex trafficking, and they're doing this so that jury of 8 men and 4 women ages 30 to 74 don't get confused in all this information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you say they're doing it not to get confused. What about those who would argue that they're trying to modify their allegations and their accusations against Sean Diddy Combs because they didn't make a strong enough case, and now they're trying to cover themselves? What about those who believe that?
You know, it's not a bad argument because in some ways you got to wonder if somebody on that, it only takes one. I always want to say that. It only takes one because this decision has to be unanimous. It only takes one juror to say, I'm not buying something here. I don't believe this. I see reasonable doubt. And you could argue that maybe a juror will look at this and say,
we don't want to believe
well, what about this thing that I thought I heard about an attempted arson or kidnapping? Now, what the prosecution is trying to do is trying to say that's not going to be part of the instructions.
I'm glad they never heard the attempted. They never knew anything about it.
And you understand people saying, hey, they didn't prove something here, so they're trying to cover themselves. But this does happen in cases sometimes. You present a lot in a case, you're trying to determine what is part of the case, especially as you're trying to tie it up in closing arguments, and you try to get in the instructions, hey, tell the jury not to consider these things because this is not part of what we're trying to do. And Stephen A., the flip side of, I think, people trying to criticize the prosecution on this is the fact that the prosecution is in there right now saying there are a whole host of crimes that were a part of the criminal enterprise. We don't need those 2. because we got scores of others that Diddy did here. And so that, to me, says the prosecutor is just trying to say, we don't have to consider everything we've talked about.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of stuff that he did wrong that's criminal that we can still convict him on. And jury, you should look at that.
Whatever registers to you.
Me, man, is that it's been 6 weeks of testimony, and then the defense has its turn, and they don't put on a single witness. It's almost like they're saying, we ain't worried about this. This is nothing. They have no case against us. Why should we even waste our time? That's how they're coming across right now, Ryan.
It's not a good sign for prosecutors. And in some ways, this is something I love talking about when you talk about juries. I think sometimes people look at that and they say, well, that's a problem for the defense. They got to put somebody on. They put Diddy on. First of all, the last thing you want to do is put him on the stand. That's a last-ditch effort. We have no chance. We got to go for this. And that's not where they are right now. But more than that, you're right, Stephen A. They're trying to portray to the jury, we got this. There was nothing to see here. And we're going to show you that in our closing arguments. You know what I found interesting? The thing they did present in the 23 or so minutes they had was the loving text messages between Cassie and Diddy. That's the defense trying to restate one very important thing in all of this: consent. That's the defense's whole case: consent. Yes, he might be a bad man. Yes, you might think the freak-offs are terrible. Yes, you might even think he's an abusive man. But are these consensual relationships? Say, for example, the sex trafficking. The whole idea that Jane and Cassie were compelled to engage in commercial sex acts under fear of force or coercion. They're going to undermine that, the defense will, by saying, look at these loving text messages. Look at how these women wanted to do this.
Hold it.
So, go ahead.
It's not just the loving text messages, Ryan. Am I wrong when I say I could have sworn I've seen where there were freak-offs that occurred without him by those two, Jane and Cassie? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, they
if I'm
didn't.
wrong about Cassie or Jane, please correct me right here on camera. My understanding is that every freak-off didn't involve P. Diddy. It involved them doing it on their own with others of their own volition, not forced at all.
I didn't hear that.
I think you're right about that. But here's the thing. The prosecution even tried to touch on that in their closing arguments by saying, you don't have to believe that he orchestrated and did something wrong in every freak-off. All you got to believe is it happened once. That's it for the sex trafficking. All you got to believe is it happened once. No, it's true.
Hold on, Ron. Excuse me for interrupting. So you're trying to tell me that if on their own they engaged in several freak-offs,
they didn't do that.
There was one.
Oh, why he
that
exaggerating?
He was involved in that they could literally try to instruct the jury. Pay attention to the one.
Absolutely.
That you did of your own volition.
Yeah, because it wasn't forced.
Saying this. I get what you're saying.
They wasn't forced.
Saying they're trying to show the jury. They're trying to show the jury.
What do you mean?
Over and over again, these women were forced in some ways to be a part of this, and that all of these things show what he was doing all along. And what they're trying to show to the jury, though, is maybe something that you're reflecting a good point. You're reflecting the point of somebody might look at one of these freak-offs and say, "Where's Diddy in all of this?"
We only concerned about the one he forced.
You don't have to believe that every single freak-off was him threatening violence or coercion.
Right.
Just once, either to Cassie or Jane. That is sex trafficking because it's an act of sex trafficking. It's an act of the predicate offense of sex trafficking they're trying to forward here.
Right.
So I get your point, but they're trying to battle that point as we speak in the courtroom by saying, we offered all this evidence.
See, this is the reason why men have such a hard time with this, because they're looking at it totally different. They are absolutely missing the point. It is the force, and the freak-offs is not because he is involved in the freak-off with them. It's that he forced them. So if they go on their own, which I don't remember them saying that they had a whole bunch of freak-offs. She went to some girl invited her somewhere, and she was on the plane in Kanye's place. That's the only one that I remember that they said that they had. None of them said that they had it without Diddy, but that one. And that she didn't say that she freaked off. She said she saw that Paul do it. But anyway, they're looking at it like, so if he wasn't there, it's not a freak off. No, we are talking about the times that he forced them to perform and they didn't want to. not the times that they wanted to be freaky. It ain't about if they wanted to be freaky without him. It's when they interacted by his force, period. And all it needed to be is one time. They want to say, but she was, so if he wasn't there, it ain't no, y'all missing it. That's her body. She can do what she want to do. That's the whole problem. It's him making them do it. Okay, Urban, you have to be respectful over here. You have to be respectful. Okay, good way to explain it. Yeah, it's the force, fraud, coercion. It's not about if she go have sex with somebody. That's not a part of a freak off. They just named it that. It's forcing her to them to be with these men for his pleasure. And if they don't want to do it, it's force, period. That's why it only has to be one. And that's why they said that there are going to be times that they agree to do it. That's not the problem. It's the times that he forced them. And men have a hard time processing. Well, people, period, have a hard time processing that. And it looked like Steve is like, well, hell, if he wasn't involved in a couple of them, what's the problem? That's not the ones that's gonna be counted. Oh man, these people are crazy.
He offered all this evidence to show you the world that he created. Your Jane, that is sex trafficking because it's an act of sex trafficking.
Somebody BS. Well, that's why y'all asses keep going to jail.
Something that you're
one, not the others that you did of your own volition.
Right. That's not a freak out because ain't nobody forcing them.
What you're saying, but here's what I'm saying. They're trying to show the jury. They're trying to show the jury that this happened over and over again. These women were forced in some ways to be a part of this, and that all of these things show what he was doing all along. And what they're trying to show to the jury, though, is maybe something that you're reflecting a good point. You're reflecting the point of somebody might look at one of these freak offs and say, "Where's Diddy in all this?" They, even in their closing argument, said, you don't have to believe that every single freak off was him threatening violence or coercion. Just once.
One time.
Just once, either to Cassie or Jane.
And that one time is the hotel. I was going to say hotel lobby, but
offensive sex trafficking they're trying to forward here. So I get your point, but they're trying to battle that point as we speak in the courtroom by saying, we offered all this evidence. We offered all this evidence to show you the world that he created in this criminal enterprise that he was in charge of. But you don't have to believe that every single moment he was threatening violence, every single moment he was threatening coercion. It could be once, it could be twice. And if you see that, you have to convict them. But your point is a good point.
What about the once, the twice? No. What about the once or twice?
It wasn't forced.
5 times or 10 times they did it on their own. Listen,
it wasn't forced.
I got nothing in this.
It wasn't forced.
He's guilty. If he's innocent, he's innocent. I don't know. I know what I saw in that video with him hitting Cassie. Ain't no getting around that. He can't come back. He forced her. But anything else?
Let that be. Hold on. So let that be the time that. Okay. So if I was the foreman and the 12 people were there. Right? And if I was them, I would say out of all the situations, episodes, write down the one time that you saw force, whether it's the hotel lobby, whether it's one other time. What? I can't remember. I can't get past that. When they said that she was out of town and she was at Prince's party. And he beat her, or if he somewhere else, I don't know. Write it down. Which time do you think was forced? Which stood out to most of you? And I would just have all 12 people write down which one stood out. Everybody's could be different. And let the majority, everybody have, we could all just agree with that one. That's how I would work it. Just to get the one. Just to get everybody to write down the one time. It would just be that simple. Write down. And if everybody say the hotel, then let it be the hotel. Because the reality of it is none of them can say there was never one time that there was force. Because the hotel on the video is the force. All them other times are extra. And that's just the bottom line. So look at him. His face is, well, what about the other times? Well, if she didn't say those were forced, those it wasn't forced. The one she said, because it's funny that they can't accept that. This girl has said, sometimes I was okay with it. When she was on her cycle, she wasn't okay with it. And he lied and said we was going to just cuddle. Well, he said kiss. Well, can we kiss? And she said, yeah, because she want that intimacy. And he still had one of them hookers over there. See, it's just that simple.
In racketeering, I'm in no position to judge him. But what I'm saying is, not only trying to get him off, I got nothing in this game. If he's guilty, he's guilty. If he's innocent, he's innocent. I don't know. I know what I saw in that video with him hitting Cassie. There ain't no getting around that. He can't come back from that. But anything else involving the sex trafficking and racketeering, I'm in no position to judge him. But what I'm saying is, not only have we heard testimony about them having freak-offs without him, we even saw or heard of them having their preference about who was going to be involved in the freak-offs. So all of that points to consensual, more so than anything else. Wouldn't you say, Ryan?
Right.
The problem is, in some way, yes. And let me touch on reasonable doubt in that. But what they're saying is, think about the rest of the testimony with Cassie, the rest of the testimony with Jane, because that was part of what the defense pushed back on when they were both on the stand. And they both mentioned, I felt like this would happen if I didn't do these things. Jane even mentioned the point of, hey, if I didn't get to choose the escorts, if I'm going to be put in this horrible situation that I'm coerced to be in, at least I want to have a say on who I have to have sex with. And so that's the situation they're trying to build out here. But what I like about what you're saying, Stephen A., is you are channeling one of those 8 men and 4 women possibly in that jury box. And I say this again, the ages are 30 to 74. I say that because you never can really account for how that wide range of ages might look at this thing. They might look at that and say exactly what you're saying. Well, wait a second. They were setting up some of these things. Well, wait a second. I didn't see Diddy in all of this. And if just one has reasonable doubt, you lose that conviction. I think that's the risk that the prosecution ran in a case like this. And I think it's the problem with a RICO case. You bring in all this evidence, but if all of the evidence doesn't necessarily point to what you're trying to prove, it can be a problem.
As it pertains to jury selection, when you talk about the wide range, 30 to 74.
I agree in that.
The defense or the prosecution having a wide range in a jury, because again, all it takes is one, right? So chances are from 30 to 74, cats are going to think differently. And if they're going to think differently and all it takes is one, it would seem to me that a jury ranging that wide would benefit the defense.
I would say this. If the prosecution can't do a fantastic job of tying all this together and making it crystal clear to everybody in that courtroom, yes, he ran this enterprise. Yes, he and others got together and did these criminal acts over this 10-year period in furtherance of the enterprise, for RICO at least, the sex trafficking, the transportation of prostitution, that seems like they can get a conviction there. But unless they can do that clearly, it favors the defense. Why? Because the defense looks at this jury and they see one person they think might be favorable, and they just talk to that person, or talk to those 2 people, or talk to those 3 people. You don't look at a closing argument in a case like this with that wide range. And the wide range isn't uncommon for cases like this. But what I'm saying is, for defense attorneys, you look at a case like this and you say, I only got to convince one. I don't have to convince all of them. All I got to do is convince one strongly who can go in that jury room and say, you guys, I see what you're saying, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And if you can get somebody to do that, then you win. I think that favors the defense unless the prosecution can do a stellar job.
Let's get down to it when it comes to you, Ryan Smith. Based on what you've heard, did the feds make their case on all the charges facing Diddy?
Transportation of individuals to engage in prostitution, yes.
He out of here.
Sex, because there's definitely evidence of, there's witnesses who come forward, talk about calling this person, they come across state lines. That I think is easier to solve. That is not the biggest charge though. In terms of RICO, in terms of sex trafficking, I don't know.
You know it's too bribery.
I wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
We're not in that courtroom. And so much is relying on them tying everything together today, right now, with what they're saying in those closing arguments. But here's my problem.
Bribery.
They talk about Diddy getting together with all these people. They talk about that leadist, one of his assistants, people like Christina Quorum, who's one of these people who sets these things up, who people were talking about a lot in the courtroom. I had a little bit of a problem that I didn't hear from all of these people.
You can't make them come.
Diddy, and in order to do RICO, you have to say,
how can you make criminals come if you subpoena them and they don't come? How can you make them come? They reached out to them, so now they're gonna have to charge them separately. I mean, what? So was they supposed to hold up the trial until they could arrest them and force them to come? No. Somebody could say they was coming and they didn't. Just like did the people who were supposed to come for Diddy, and they changed their mind. They saw the bigger picture. They started seeing RICO. Let me tell you who saw RICO. The people who was subpoenaed, who worked for Diddy, who was like, oh, hell no. Oh, no. Oh, no. You told me they didn't have nothing. And now all that stuff that we was doing, that's what, yeah, that's why they backed out. So what do? You can't make them come, right? You cannot make them. So I don't understand. I mean, everybody would love to hear them. They thought they was coming. But then what do? You got different witnesses who keep saying this, the same people's names in different situations. So come on now. He never did anything for me, so I could care less about him and them freaky chicks. Well, I think he more freaky than they are. He the one to get turned on seeing these girls have sex with other men because he can't perform. You offer a deal to them. I don't know what you're trying to say. Anyway. Yeah, I think he got the problem. But, and I wish, why? I was like, why? Because they don't understand them streets. Because I don't know why nobody on that team did not reference Diddy as a pimp. His ways, his mannerisms, his grooming, his manipulation was more pimp. If they would have tied it to pimpish ways, when they don't want to perform, either he makes them, he coerced them, or he forced them, just like a pimp, just like a pimp in trafficking. If they would have referenced pimpish ways, it would have connected better. Why do you stay? Well, why do hookers stay with pimps? Why do hookers give the pimps their money and they do the work? I mean, the same thing. And then in some hookers, they will be with a pimp so long, hell, they really defensive with him. They love him. And if somebody try to help them, they go, I got to give daddy my money. It's bizarre. But if they would have looked at it or referenced or clicked it in, it would have registered better if they would have categorized him as a pimp. Because that's all he is. I mean, they think he loved them. Oh, because I love him. Oh, don't pimps make they always think they love him? I'm here to protect you. I love you. You my number one. You my main, da-da-da. That's all it is. But he has a fetish. He has a fetish but they never tapped into the pimpology, because that's all Diddy is. And if you go back and you kind of listen to what's the old guy that used to, oh wow, a Dapper Dan tapped into the pimp and hoism with Diddy's parents. Yeah, he was a dope dealer, but he say he had plenty of hoes. Diddy Daddy, I mean, he sold drugs, but he had plenty of hoes. And his mama would have disguised them, modeling things, but she was a madam. See, they didn't do their research. So plenty hoes. And when which one? What's his name? RICO. RICO was talking about old girl mouth gang, was like, whoo. And Diddy said, oh yeah, she one of the best on the team. The team? Yeah, his fetish is men. The team? Yeah. Also, ain't that pimpish? He have his girls. They family. They're a team, but they just thought they was the only ones. Just like the Punisher, he thought he was the only one. They got a gift of making these clowns feel like they the only one, and Diddy got a whole dang team. And then Jane Doe said, a team? Why she giving this man some of the best network that he done ever? He was like, God damn, toes and fingers all crip, like fingers all doing all type of, like, oh, God, mouth all twitch because he can't handle it. And he said, yeah, she one of the best on the team. I said, oh, this man ain't nothing but, and he got all these hookers and they don't even know. They think they're his girlfriend, and all they are, y'all get the likes up, please, are his hookers for his main attraction. And his main attraction is the men. And people are thinking it's the females. No. He be really cutting for the guys. And that's why the Punisher got that money thrown on their bed. I'll never forget that one. If I was deliberating with them, I'd be like, yeah, he paid for it because he threw that money on the bed and said, I like this shit. He ain't like Cassie. He wasn't saying that because of Cassie. He was saying that because of the Punisher. And when Jane had 3 in a row and got sick and went in there and threw up in the bathroom, he came in there and he said, it was too much for you, wasn't it? It was too much for you. Oh, okay, come on. Go on, throw up. And come on, I got another one for you. Said you couldn't take that thing? Yeah, because all of them have to be horse links. Because he got a Tootsie Roll. So he likes seeing them with these big old gigantic horse weenies. Hey, everybody coming in. I would really appreciate if y'all would hit the like button for me. Double tap your screen. Please. Yeah, coming up with these big old horse weenies. Stretch. That's why they say it take them days to get to try to recover on top of being high. And then here this freaky sucker come who can't perform like that. Y'all see, I had to come in closer to the mic. Who couldn't perform like that? Yeah. But it take that other guy to talk about how he was in that corner beating that hot dog. Beating that hot dog. You don't remember that shit? You wasn't here. You wasn't here. Oh, he talked about how Diddy was over there beating the hell out of his hot dog in that corner. With his strong hand. Nah, y'all got it twisted. Y'all think it's the women. Diddy is into the men. He into the men, not the women. Oh yeah, it was funny. Oh, it was funny. Don't make me go on my archive, baby. He said, oh, he was going ham hard. And then he disappeared. He got up. It was, all over, and he went in passed him up to go into the restroom. He thought to clean up. And hell, next thing you know, he said he was standing behind him. He said it was the freakiest shit. He was like, whoa, where he come from? He said Diddy got a trap door. Diddy got a trap door. I needed to be there. Let's go.
Diddy and others did these things in furtherance of the enterprise. Where are the others? Some of the others came forward. But if you're that jury and you
y'all didn't hear that?
These others have the...
Y'all didn't hear that? Shelly, I know you weren't. Yvonne, you didn't hear. Please tell me. Okay, so yeah, please don't tell me y'all didn't hear that. Baby, we done been having talks with the male hookers. With the male hookers. Yeah. He said he was beaten. He was going to work. What's that old song? I go to work.
Part of his enterprise, then you're searching for the other people, then doubt comes in. So right now,
Woo.
I would say
yes, indeed, Haunting.
I think the prosecution has a strong case, but it is definitely not a slam dunk. It is definitely not clear. There's big differences between this and R. Kelly case and RICO, for example.
Oh, it's crystal clear for me.
I think is an easy one to prove for them. So I think it's 50-50.
Jury deliberations, how long you anticipate this could go? Because the trial could end, whether it's tomorrow or it could end by Monday, and then jury deliberations kick in. How long do you anticipate that'll take?
No days. But I'll say one thing. What's going to be interesting to me and what I think people should keep an eye on, will the judge give the jury this case on Friday? It's a very small point.
He did.
Sometimes when juries have a case on Fridays and they really want to go home and they really want to be done, they rush it. And you could have a verdict on Friday. My sense here is the judge might have them start on Monday, so they're really thinking it through and being thorough. And if that's the case, I think it could go on for days. And it's mostly because of that RICO charge.
I wish they would have held the rebuttal.
To do here to tie it all together to prove that case. And I think we see clearly. Look, Stephen A., we can look at this case, no matter what you think. We see that Diddy is a bad guy. We see that he did bad things. But are they criminal things?
Yes.
Are they criminal things?
Yeah.
And I don't know if we see that here. And I think that's going to take the jury a long time to sort out.
Very last question. I know this.
Let me tell you why I see it. Because he tried to use it to. I'm trying to look for something. He used it to blackmail him. He knew it was bad. He knew he was forced them. He knew he was collecting. One of those guys, was it Brandon? Somebody said that he has to collect leverage. So just in case you decide that you're going to tell, that he will dangle your tapes over you. So he knew what he was doing. Even that's illegal. Filming somebody, the ones that they didn't know was filmed, because that's why she was threatening to unalive somebody, because what he had wasn't what Diddy supposedly had did. And then you blackmailing. So yeah, it's criminal. Absolutely criminal. You threaten to blow up somebody's car so that their friends could see it, and a month later the car goes up. Yes, it's criminal. Absolutely.
The judge didn't want that. That's why we see, the drawings and all of this other stuff. Is it possible that the judge may allow the verdict to be televised?
No, I don't think so. I think this is going to be shut down the whole way through. I think one thing that people can look for, though, even as they hear about the decision, is he convicted on one thing and not on others? And I will say this, Stephen A. If he's convicted, say,
Shelley, have you seen any
prostitution,
of them talk?
that is a loss for the prosecution, a huge loss.
You said what?
Because you want to get him on that top chart.
Oh,
He's
record
convicted on one thing and not on others. And I will say this, Stephen A. If he's convicted, say, for example, on the transportation to commit prostitution, but not on the other two, that is a loss for the prosecution, a huge loss, because you want to get him on that top charge. You mentioned it at the very beginning. He faces life in prison.
When I get home, I'm a real professional. I watch everything. Everything is ready to go.
And if they don't get convicted on that,
brushing my teeth and shit, I'm telling this chick, I'm like, yo, I'm about to go make some money. She's like,
for
what?
a prosecutor's office.
I don't even say nothing else. Grab my bag, I'm down the stairs. So she started calling me, blowing me up. I turned the phone on silent.
Did you see this, Shelley?
I lived in Long Beach, Lakewood at the time, so I had to take the 405 to the 110 to the 10, exit La Cienega. When
Have y'all seen this?
I get a text. I'm assuming from Cassie because she asked me to bring baby oil.
They better get my lights up.
Johnson specifically.
So this would work. This is perfect.
Y'all, please get the likes up. Support the platform. Y'all ain't seen this one.
Vaseline.
Nah,
cocoa butter.
You only saw the one.
If it ain't Johnson, it's Johnson, but hey.
On the witness stand?
They were she was specific. She said, if it ain't Johnson, it's Johnson, don't come.
Oh, yes, he is. Hey, Crystal.
40 fucking minutes.
Wait a minute. And it's at 3 in the morning, and she said,
so
you better bring Johnson and Johnson.
It was like 5 a.m. by that time. So I'm literally like 10 minutes away because the first time I saw them, I didn't go to a hotel. I went to like a condo. Like, fuck what you talking about, 1,500, you come right now. I'm like, man, send me the address. I'm out. My bag, when I get home, I'm a real professional. I wash everything. Everything is ready to go. So I get up, brushing my teeth and shit. I'm
Are you my
chick,
Crystal,
I'm like,
Crystal?
I'm about to go make some money. She's like, what?
Hold on. Are you my Crystal, Crystal? Hold on. Let me double check. Hold on. While I'm handing out my sticks. Are you my Crystal? Because I sure thought Crystal had one. Hold on. I need to. Oh, okay. I thought you had one. You see, I took it back. I've been on one today.
I don't even say nothing else. Grab my bag, I'm down the stairs. So she started calling me, blowing me up. I turned the phone on silent. As I'm exiting, I lived in Long Beach, Lakewood at the time, so I had to take the 405 to the 110 to the 10, exit La Cienega. When I exit La Cienega, I get a text. I'm assuming from Cassie because she asked me to bring baby oil. Johnson specifically.
So this would work. This is perfect. This is Vaseline.
Nah,
cocoa butter.
Can y'all
You
still
can't
hear?
even get in the door, nigga. If it ain't Johnson, it's Johnson. But hey, they were she was specific. She said, if it ain't Johnson, it's Johnson, don't come. I'm like, bitch, I just drove 40 fucking minutes.
Okay.
Wait a minute. And it's at 3 in the morning, and she said,
So
you better bring Johnson and Johnson.
it was like 5 a.m. by that time. So I'm literally like 10 minutes away because the first time I saw them, I didn't go to a hotel. I went to like a condo. Like, fuck what you talking about, 1,500, you come right now. I'm like, man.
Oh, okay. I gotta find the one. Hold on.
My bag,
I gotta find the other one. Hold on.
I'm a real professional. I want.
Hold on, because these are the short ones, but it got to be the one. Did you see this guy? Let me find that other one. This the one he liked, but he was scared of him.
And this nigga who's supposed to, Jane Doe supposed to be somebody's baby mother too, which we can't really get into, but that's somebody's baby mother.
Are there any bats? No. Are there any snakes? No? You sure?
Baby, I bet he said, okay.
He was saying that this isn't what he does. He just usually dances. This was kind of the first time to think. You usually be fucking bitches. That's kind of what you do anytime besides this.
Can y'all see that?
No, it's mostly dancing.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. It's just mainly dancing.
Because
So
my screen is drunk. Stuck. Can y'all see him?
What happens when you get to the room? You go up the elevator, get to the room. Who opens the door or who's there?
Can y'all see it? My screen is stuck.
First introduction, go.
When I knock on the door, Puff opens the door at first.
Fuck out of here.
And I walk in.
Y'all can see him?
So did you notice though, or you just think that you're going for what you usually do?
I had to sign the NDA before I went there, so like they kind of told me it was a celebrity client.
Got you, but you didn't know it was going to be them.
No.
All right, so let's lay this out. You get there, Puff opens the door. Pardon me?
I had a clue.
Oh, you had a clue.
Like I had, yeah.
Got you. So you get there, Puff opens the door. How does that introduction go when you open the door and you see it's Puff?
Hold on.
I just dab him off and I walk in and he asked me if I knew who he was and I was like, no, and he tells me his name and I'm like, I knew who he was, but I was just like, and he was like, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Bad Boys, and I was like, and he played some music. I'm like, oh yeah.
Hold on, hold on.
He's like,
I'm gonna get it.
Like, well, let's go sit on the balcony.
Hold on, I'm gonna put it on other thing. Let me go to this next video and I'll put it on over here, up here. Hold on. I'm gonna bring you up to a little speed, Shelly. But I call myself trying to do a review. Oh yeah, I want to see him.
Do you understand? So strong. Something is brewing inside that courthouse. And of course, I went.
Hold on.
I'm going to find out where you are. Do you understand? Hey guys, it's Marc Morali. Hopefully you guys are all doing well today. Daily and consistent
it's
content.
It's not showing up on my side.
From, not live. I just feel like I wanted to say that. We're coming to you from live from the Diddy trial. I was there today. I went live earlier today. It was very intense. I felt the energy, the spiritual warfare around that whole place was strong. Do you understand? So strong. Something is brewing inside that courthouse. And of course, I went in. I saw Diddy. Diddy, listen, the sketches do not do it justice. That man looks far worse than it's even imaginable. You have to see him.
He looking bad.
You have to see him in person. He's extremely, like the life has genuinely been sucked out of him and he looks like a miserable old prune. That is how he looks like to me. Very gray hair, very weak demeanor and slouched over for the most of what was going on. There were many times where he was not only just looking around, but somebody was coughing in the courthouse. And he was very much quick to offer her a bottle of water. He didn't want to pass it to somebody to pass it to her. He wanted to be the one to save her and give her water to, of course, make the jury look like he's a nice guy. He's helping this old lady who's coughing away. And she took the water, I believe, and she was drinking it. And he sat back down. He had to be the one. All of his lawyers were saying next to him, Marc, Brian Steele. You had the prosecution's lawyers, next to him as well, like in the first row. But he had to be the one to get the water and get up and give it to her. Just do the most, play the hero, all of these psych tactics. Marc Agnifilo, the defense, the closing statements were so weak, in my opinion. Bye. It was not strong because the redirect for the prosecution today was absolutely insane. It goes so fast in the courtroom that reading out live tweets really isn't enough, and it really goes to show me that we miss out on so much information when we're not in the courtroom, guys. We miss out on so much information that is happening, and Marc and his statements genuinely made no sense to me. That man was sitting there talking about how they were lovers, they really liked each other, Cassie is a gangster, and that the intimacy was consensual. He had no plan. It was rough, didn't make any sense, and it was awful, in my opinion. And the reason why I say it was awful was because AUSA Comey came out of nowhere for the redirect and dragged him. The way that she was speaking to the jury was so, relatable, dramatic, emphatic, so many words to describe her and who and what she was trying to do. She kept talking about Capricorn Clark. She kept talking about Kid Cudi. She kept talking about the fact that, all he needs is one RICO off the list for him to go down, and that this is what you guys should do as the jury. You must make him guilty. And it was such a good speech. No hesitance. She wasn't, stuttering on her speeches. She knew exactly what she was saying as if she had practiced it, in a mirror. And she went in right for the jugular. And Marc was sitting there looking like an absolute fool. Outside the courtroom, you had many women and men out there with free puff jumpers and T-shirts, screaming about his innocence. Many people saying free Diddy as well. There were cameras, TV, everybody was there.
Hi there.
Thank you.
Yeah, he gonna walk right into prison.
Twice. TV, everybody was there. When I came out of the courtroom, people were saying, Marc,
Straight
what do you think? Marc, they were calling my name. And I'm thinking, how do you don't know my name? Because it was just so funny to me. And many people were looking at me, and I think they were probably recognizing me or something.
Straight into the prison doors.
Obviously, it's my
From
first time
jail to prison.
I do. I told you guys I wanted to be there for the verdict. And so it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, I would imagine. Deliberation should take 48 hours at the max. And hopefully by Wednesday latest, we should get the deliberation, the verdict, whether how many years this man is going to get. It's going to be historic, because if he goes down guilty, there's going to be major fights going on outside the courthouse, because there are a lot of people outside the courthouse who are pro Diddy, sitting there supporting him and etc. and talking about him. And there are many others who are saying who are against. I saw many arguments happening between protesters, and there were a lot of people also there for Britney Spears as well. Then Diddy's sons walked past me when they left where I was able to film it. And you have the daughters, you have Justin Combs, who was there even after his lawsuit. Albie's son, I keep forgetting his name, John. I keep forgetting that man's name. And then you also have Christian. The way Christian Combs was looking, that man has a face stuck. He's just like this, walking like this.
Yeah, he's not cute to me.
With his cap on, face stuck, and trying to keep this persona, and it's not that deep. That man released a song today with Kanye West whilst Diddy was in court. If that doesn't go to show you that this man is trying to use all of this to release music to get publicity, I don't know what does. And
That's
with the fact
his daddy.
that none of his music has ever stuck, no one's talking about it, it's not doing anything, it's just crazy to me. Because you're even working on Kanye West and still nobody's talking about your music. But of course the sons, the elder sons, walked right past me. They didn't look at me or anything, but they walked right past me and they went straight into the car. Justin Combs was smiling, kind of acknowledging people. Christian Combs was just like, as if he had somewhere to go, and he has nowhere to go. So he went straight into the van. The daughters were there in the court, three of them sitting next to each other, and I'm just like, what is going through their minds? What is going through their minds? Because yesterday the daughters left.
That's the one I want to say. I want to find the guy who was talking about how he was going ham. It's been a minute. Oh no.
The feds don't like the way we have sex, as he says was the case with Diddy.
I want the.
Because I know some people are like, how dare you? He's a horrible man. This P. Diddy.
Oh, I don't know if I like him.
Horrible. He should. Okay, so he's a butt.
Oh no, I don't like him.
He's a freak.
I don't like him about something else though. I don't even know if I want to entertain him inside. Hold on. That's too long. Let's see this one.
I'd like to welcome in Nima Rahmani, a former federal prosecutor and current president at the Los Angeles West Coast Lawyers. And Nima, thank you so much for your time today. All right, let's just start with this fact. The defense opting not to call a single witness, 0 witnesses. Are you surprised? Or
can y'all see that? I can't. It's stuck on my end.
Nicole, it was the defense strategy, but it certainly changed over time. Initially, they asked for 2 full weeks for their defense case. Then they went down to 2 days. And ultimately, they used just 30 minutes. And that 30 minutes was used to put in more text messages from victims Cassie and Jane, where they were communicating with Diddy and the sex workers, setting up these freak-offs in the hotel nights. So the defense thinks that based on the cross-examination, based on those messages, and based on the freak-off videos themselves, which seem to show these women enjoying themselves sexually, that they poked enough holes in the prosecution's case to raise reasonable doubt. And of course, Marc Agnifilo is trying to bring that home with his closing argument this afternoon.
All right, so Nima, the defense, of course, you know, as you just mentioned, they're presenting closing arguments today. What is most important for Diddy's team?
Now, y'all do know that
The most important thing is racketeering, and this is why. I think the defense has a good shot of getting not guilty, or maybe even a hung jury on sex trafficking, because
because
this
it's
argument
stuck.
that at least
Hold
some of
on.
this activity was consensual. In prostitution, I think
Follow the
it's
link.
in the bag for the prosecution. The defense hasn't really addressed it yet in their closing arguments. But look, if the government
It's
only
stuck.
gets a prostitution conviction here, this is going to be a big waste of time. It's going to be a slap on the wrist for Diddy. So racketeering, in my opinion, is going to make or break the case, and it's a stronger argument than the government has with respect to sex trafficking.
Do y'all know that dang it. Okay, I need to do hold on, y'all. Do y'all know that John Legend manager is suing Diddy? Do y'all know that? Y'all know that? Ain't no volume on here. Oh, wow. Hold on, y'all. Can y'all see now?
Hi, I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. It has all come down to this. The fate of Sean Combs is now in the hands of 12 jurors. Combs' defense team presented their closing arguments today, asking jurors to have the courage to acquit Sean and to, quote, return him to his family. The defense attorney telling jurors this trial isn't about sex trafficking, racketeering, or transportation to engage in prostitution. Instead saying, quote, domestic violence.
Y'all didn't know about John Legend.
The defense also attempting to sway jurors into seeing Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, as a willing participant in his lifestyle, calling their relationship, quote, a great modern love story. Jury deliberations are set to begin Monday. The rap mogul has pleaded not guilty to all charges. If convicted, he could face up to life in prison. Let's get right to Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky, who has been inside the courtroom throughout this trial. And Aaron, the defense wrapped today. How long did their take?
About 4 hours. Defense attorney Marc Agnifilo in that time, Eva, sought to convince the jury of the times when Cassie Ventura had agency in her relationship with Sean Combs. She wasn't clutching her pearls, Agnifilo told the jury. She chose the kind of lifestyle also that Sean Combs was into.
The defense asked the jury to see the case as a, quote, great.
Okay, so hold on. I want y'all to see that other one.
Explain this moment to us.
Now that I got it working. Hold on, folks. You know I run out of juice, so hold on.
The defense really tried to reframe everything the jury had heard about the relationship between Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs. He urged them to read all of the text messages they sent each other. He said it would make you cry. Some of the most beautiful things he had ever seen. And he said it was true love. It was a great modern love story. Perhaps whitewashing the fact that he beat her, as prosecutors later pointed out in rebuttal, throughout the years of their relationship.
Now, Combs has been in this courtroom for over a month now, Aaron. His family and friends often attending there in support. Who was there with him today?
All of the kids, they just left, as a matter of fact. His mother was there. He gestured to them on the way in, and he hugged his defense attorney, Marc Agnifilo, after he finished delivering the closing statement. This was the last chance that Combs will have to try and convince the jury to find him not guilty, and the defense asked jurors to summon the courage to acquit Sean Combs. Defense attorney Agnifilo said the government...
Sierra's got great taste. This isn't her first time skipping the drive.
Two, I didn't think of it. Now I'm looking at it a little bit differently. What do you make of that?
So her single event, her single experience.
Disgraced rapper. Welcome to... A well-known and well-established producer in the entertainment world says she went to a P. Diddy party and a very scary thing happened. And her new op-ed in the New York Times slams the music industry's predatory culture. We've got all the details on what she had to say as new charges could be on the horizon for the disgraced rapper. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Right now, as we speak, a rapper who once held legendary status worldwide is sitting in a jail cell out in Brooklyn. I'm talking, of course, about Sean Diddy Combs, and there's so many things that are happening right now. His attorneys are busy trying to file legal arguments to get him out of that cell, get him bail, get him pre-trial release. They're also trying to keep people who are connected to these sex crimes allegations from talking about it. We actually focused a lot about that on different sidebars. Meanwhile, you have Texas Attorney Tony Busby. He's also hard at work, filing lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit against Sean Combs, accusing him of using his power and influence to sexually abuse both women and men, as well as allegedly some children.
Women and men,
the claim is
fellas, why y'all all up in his tail?
Now, as Combs faces sex trafficking and racketeering criminal charges in federal court, the public perception of the rapper
making excuses for his bad behavior.
For many, he went from being a 90s music icon who gave money to charities. He was awarded the key to New York City. He was the life of the party. Everybody liked him. But that transformed because now we look at him as an accused sexual predator. And we all saw with our very own eyes that 2016 videotape that was published by CNN just a few months ago, where he is beating up his girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, inside of a hotel hallway out in Los Angeles. And Combs, he released an Instagram video essentially acknowledging that it was him in that security video, apologized, but the feelings of many, they really have shifted. He is not the Sean Combs that we knew from years ago.
Sure not.
Now, prosecutors allege that Combs, he used his enormous wealth as well as his influence and his power over his employees and others to organize what were apparently called freak-offs, or FOs, these long orchestrated sex performances that allegedly involved hiring commercial sex workers, keeping everyone involved in the orgies drugged, videotaping these events. And Combs has strongly denied these allegations. He's denied the charges.
Always.
His attorney says he plans to fight them in court.
Now his sons are
by
predators.
taking the stand in his own defense. We'll see what that looks like, although, of course, no cameras in that federal courtroom. Unfortunately, I can talk about how I'm frustrated with that, but that's for a different day. And we know that his trial is scheduled right now to start in May, but we received information this week that a grand jury has been convened to hear new evidence, including testimony apparently from a male witness, which we know that could lead to a superseding indictment, new charges, amended charges against Combs. If that happens, I have to imagine the trial date gets pushed back. More discovery, more defenses, more witnesses, a lot more will happen. I don't think it would happen. This trial would happen in May. By the way, what do I talk about like all the time on Sidebar? I talk about the law, right? I talk about the law on Law and Crime Sidebar. I talk about legal rulings, legal decisions. Well, I have a landmark one for you right now that has just changed things in a massive way. Why? because you can now legally trade on who will win the 2024 election. Yes, this is legal. And that is because our sponsor of Sidebar, Kalshi, went to court and won Will Taylor /sidebar, or you can scan the. You have these celebrities.
From Kansas City to the capital city, Washburn University will surprise you. A tight-knit college in a city of opportunity. Washburn
are coming out to denounce Combs' alleged actions, and they're recounting their own stories of his wild parties and their own encounters with Sean Combs. And that includes who we want to talk about right now. Emmy Award-winning producer Ty Sticklorius, founder of the music management company Friend at Work. In fact, the reason you might know her as one of her most famous clients is John Legend. Now, Sticklorius wrote an op-ed piece that was published in the New York Times on Thursday.
How dare you
and it was
have
entitled,
your nerve to
"The
come in
Music
here and
Industry
complain and
is
you ain't
Toxic.
supported,
After
you
P.
ain't
Diddy,
dropped a
we
super
cleaned
chat,
up."
super sticker,
She
shut your
recounts one of her own encounters
fuck face up.
with Sean Combs, or maybe I should say at a Sean Combs event.
Slightly.
She wrote in the essay about attending
Stupid
one of
ass.
Combs' New Year's Eve parties on a yacht in St. Bart's
You don't like
27
it?
years ago when she was in her early 20s.
TYBA.
And she says that during that
Y'all
party,
say about
a
it
man she didn't know,
slightly,
who seemed to be an associate of
slightly
Sean Combs,
stupid.
brought her to a bedroom aboard the yacht and then locked the door behind them. She wrote, "To this day, I can't remember how I managed to talk my way out of that terrifying situation. Perhaps my nervous babbling, my brother's on this boat and he's probably looking for me, convinced him to unlock the bedroom door and let me go." She went on to say that she didn't know if the man had any real connection to Sean Combs, and she kind of chalked it up to what she called an anomaly. Maybe he was just a drunk guy at a party who tried to take things a little too far. But now, she says, looking back on her experience after everything has come out, or all these allegations have come out against Sean Combs, she looks at it differently, writing, "It was an indicator of a pervasive culture in the music industry that actively fostered sexual misconduct and exploited the lives and bodies of those hoping to make it in the business. This toxic situation has been allowed to fester because power has been concentrated in the hands of kingmakers, wealthy, entitled, nearly always male gatekeepers who control nearly every door that leads to success and who can, without consequence, use their power to abuse young women and young men. Too often, women have not been safe in recording studios, on tour buses.
Now, this don't have nothing to do with
It's not a
Cassie,
bug of the music
nothing
business.
to do with Jane
It's a
Doe,
major
and y'all
feature.
still finding
And it's
something wrong
interesting
with
that
an
Victoria
executive.
says that
Now
her
it's the
scary
executive
experience
fault.
happened on a yacht, because what do we know? Combs' son, Christian, is facing his own sexual assault allegations that allegedly happened on a yacht.
Now, Justin.
In April, a woman named Grace O'Markey filed a lawsuit against him. And according to the...
So, in April, Christian got hit with a lawsuit. Here it is, June, Justin got hit with one. Okay? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Well, later on today. So he got hit with one, like father, like son. So why all you stupid men in here talking about he gonna walk, he innocent. Yeah, he is grooming his sons to be predator just like him. Don't have gift of gab, I guess, to be able to talk a woman in or cute enough for a woman just to want you. You gotta drug them and do all this crazy stuff. So yeah, it ain't just him, it's his sons. First this one, now Justin. He breeding them. Yeah. Like father, like son. Why y'all patting his back with that stupid stuff?
This complaint, O'Markey, who says she was 25 years old at the time, says that she was working as a steward on the yacht that Sean Combs had chartered. And she believes that the alcohol on that yacht had been laced with drugs, because she says that women would have one drink and then almost immediately they would pass out or start falling over. And she said that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but would come onto the yachts in the evenings to party. And one night in December of 2022, she says Christian reportedly arrives very intoxicated and pressured her to take shots of tequila. She says she did, and Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in this yacht's makeshift recording studio. She says that Christian kissed her neck, her face. He groped her legs, breasts, private areas. And O'Markey says that she tried to go back to work, but Christian found her again, wanted her to find him a place to sleep for the night. So she took him to the cinema room of the yacht. And that's when she claims Christian stopped her from leaving, groped her again, took off all of his clothes, and tried to force her to perform oral sex on him. Now, O'Markey's civil lawsuit accuses Christian of assault, battery, sexual assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress. But Sean Combs is also named as a defendant. She is suing him under a aiding and abetting theory, as well as having premises liability because he was the leaseholder of the yacht. It was his property in a way. Premises liability means that you have a duty to keep people on your property safe from injuries. And we recently told you about allegations made against rapper Chris Brown in an explosive new documentary called Chris Brown, A History of Violence, where a woman who is identified only as Jane Doe accused Brown of drugging and raping her at a party on a yacht that was docked outside of Combs' mansion in Miami in 2020.
Is guilty.
Jane Doe doesn't accuse
Yeah,
Combs.
and he over here teaching. He is, what did I call him?
Really nice,
what did I call him?
Again, this could establish what is being perceived as a pattern of behavior.
Mastermind.
To be clear, Brown.
What did I call him?
The rape allegation and the others made in the documentary are malicious and false. But
yeah, he'll
going
teach
back
you.
to Sticklorious, she says her experiences with all these dubious characters connected to the music business didn't end at that yacht party. Quote, my early experiences with predators and those that enabled them nearly led me to give up on the music business. A few years after the boat incident, while pursuing my MBA at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School, I attended a dinner where a senior music executive slipped his card to me under the table, an unsubtle invitation to his hotel room. I declined. I only persisted in the industry because in 2005, an old college friend who was starting to find success as an artist reached out to me. That artist was John Legend. 20 years later, I am still his manager and partner in multiple business ventures. It turns out that many artists, including John, want to be part of a different model of business and culture. So with that, I want to bring in trial attorney Parker Steiner, who specializes in sexual abuse and assault cases. Parker, so good to have you back here to talk about this. What do you make of that op-ed?
Hi,
So it's a very powerful op-ed, and it's exposing a culture. She uses the term gatekeeper. These unbelievably powerful individuals within this industry that
gatekeepers
apply predator behaviors towards women, young artists, and essentially say, for you to get through these gates, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And oftentimes that involves sexual behavior, the way they dress, the way they act, really essentially controlling these young women. And her op-ed is extremely powerful. Now, she doesn't make any direct allegations against Mr. Combs. However, she is really the tip of the iceberg with exposing an industry. And up until this point, we've had complaints that have included Jane Does. These are individuals for a number of reasons for survivors of abuse, why they want to go under an alias, protect their identity. They have a lot of fear. We're seeing that same similar allegation in these complaints, that these Jane Does live with constant fear, whether it was direct threats that they allege in their complaints or otherwise. But this op-ed, although again, not directly against Mr. Combs, is a name. And it's not just any name. This is an Emmy award-winning.
Not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls. President Trump responded and says Fox News poll
individual coming forward who's still in the industry, has been in the industry at the highest level, and that's associated with one of the largest artists in the world, that's coming forward and sharing her own individual experience, but also saying this is a culture that's been toxic for 20 years and is still toxic today.
And without naming names, one of the questions I keep getting asked is, this, like you said, it's the tip of the iceberg. If this was the pattern in the music industry, who else is going to be caught up on charges? Who else is going to be implicated in this, right? You know, because first for Sean Combs, he's charged with racketeering conspiracy. If this really was going on for a long time, he's not doing it by himself. Who else knew about it? Who else participated? But if this was a symptom, maybe not to the degree of freak-off sessions, but if this was a symptom of the music industry, and you're seeing high-profile people like Sean Combs being arrested and charged with federal crimes, being hit with lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, do you wonder if another high-profile music industry executive or artist or somebody else connected to the industry might be next?
I wouldn't be shocked. You know, I don't know if it'll amount to the criminal charges and prosecution that's taking place with Mr. Combs, but we're already seeing the trickle-down effect. We're seeing Chris Brown named in a lawsuit for allegations stemming from a Diddy party. And I would not be surprised if we see continued civil lawsuits against individuals in that industry. What takes place is when you have one brave survivor that comes forward, one Jane Doe that comes forward and files a lawsuit saying what took place to me was wrong, and I will no longer be silenced. It empowers other survivors to come forward. And that's what you've seen with the more than 100 civil lawsuits against Mr. Combs, as well as this opt-ed. It's the Me Too movement from 2015.
You know, it's interesting. First of all, I'll tell you that the Jane Doe who sued Chris Brown, that case actually fell apart. It was dismissed. And that was filed, I think, before even any of the allegations against Sean Combs. But
hey, we are the receipts. Hey.
Came out just recently. And look, I did a sidebar recently where the government came out with a filing, and they said they began investigating Sean Combs in November of 2023. So right when Cassandra Ventura and other people started filing these lawsuits, that shows you the power of investigative journalism and documentaries and lawsuits that sometimes can fuel a criminal investigation. I think one of the things that Striglorious talked about that I think really was interesting is she just chalked it up as it's an anomaly. It's a drunk guy at a party. This probably happens all the time. But when you look back on it, given the allegations, you look at it with a different lens. And that makes me wonder, not only somebody of her stature coming out, but other people might say, yeah, I had a weird experience too. I didn't think of it. Now I'm looking at it a little bit differently. What do you make of that?
So her single event, her single experience, she chalked it up. This could have been a drunk person at a party. I don't know if that person was associated with Mr. Combs or not. But then you hear more and more stories, and really a culture that would take place at parties or with individuals surrounding Mr. Combs. And it starts to make you question, was this just a single event, a drunk guy at a party, like she unfortunately had experienced at other times in her life? Or was this a culture that was tolerated, enabled, or promoted by Mr. Combs? And I think it builds on the allegations that have been made already against him.
Let me ask you this. I get asked this a lot. Combs is obviously defending himself in these civil suits. He's going to defend himself in the criminal case. He's already doing it. Some people say, why doesn't he just turn around and file defamation lawsuit against defamation lawsuit against defamation lawsuit? You're lying about me. You're lying about me. You're lying about me. Clearly, he wouldn't have a hard time proving the harm element because his whole career and reputation was significantly damaged. He was arrested. He obviously can't file a defamation action against the government for what they did, but the accusers, including anybody who says anything about him, why doesn't he just do that?
So he certainly could. He could file in response
to
the complaint to these civil lawsuits, a defamation lawsuit. But the reality is he still has to prove the elements. And you're right. The brand damage that has taken place, if there is in fact defamation, is horrific. But up until this point, there are allegations that have been made. Allegations included in civil lawsuits, and if he answered the complaints with a defamation suit or filed his own, he would still have to go through the burden of proving his case. He'd still have to stand before a jury in a civil case and walk through these allegations, these events that took place, and have to defend himself. So really, it doesn't do him much justice by filing those. He's publicly made the statement denying these allegations, but as far as any civil recovery that he'd be able to achieve through defamation, I don't think it's extremely likely.
It's not defamation.
And it doesn't slow down the train.
And this woman is an top executive.
You mentioned before that you have somebody like Ty Striglorious who has come out publicly and said what almost happened to her and her experiences. But then you have Jane Does who have been filing lawsuit after lawsuit, and they have remained anonymous. I'm actually doing another sidebar where a federal judge has said one of the Jane Does who has filed a civil lawsuit against Sean Combs in federal court, she can no longer remain anonymous, that she hasn't presented enough evidence about why, the harm that she would suffer, the danger, that public embarrassment, is not enough, that Sean Combs has a right to confront his accuser, he has a right to investigate who this person is, he has a right to, in terms of look at her credibility, and that she was the one who filed the lawsuit, and she was the one who put her credibility at issue. I thought that was a significant move because that could maybe have a trickle effect where all of these other accusers might have to be identified. And then it becomes a question if they want to continue their lawsuits or not once they're identified. What's your thoughts on that?
So I think there's two different issues here. There's one, the identity of a plaintiff in a civil lawsuit through discovery. And then there's also the identity of an individual on the caption of complaint that's ultimately public. Listen, I've litigated sexual abuse cases all over the country in both state and federal courts. I've never had a case where there's allegations of sexual abuse or sexual assault in which a judge required the caption of the complaint to identify the Jane Doe by name. Historically, what takes place in these cases is certainly Mr. Combs has a right through discovery. Ultimately, if the case goes to trial, to know his plaintiff in the case, the individual that's making allegations against him, to defend himself, to conduct discovery. And typically what takes place is there are protective orders that the court puts in place as far as documents that are produced through discovery, as far as deposition testimony, or otherwise, that still protects the identity of that Jane Doe, at least in the public light. What's taking place here is the caption of the complaint is going to be amended if that Jane Doe ultimately decides to continue with her lawsuit, so then the public gets access to who she is and her claims as well. So a separate distinction between what typically takes place in these cases, where certainly anyone that's accused has a right to defend themselves, that's our civil justice system, but it's usually done in a private way rather than my understanding of this order that's going to take place.
One more thing I wanted to ask you. I was really wrestling about this. If Sean Combs, what he might be telling his lawyers, what he might be perceiving this, let's assume everything is true. Let's assume every allegation is true, okay? Let's assume that. You know what I was thinking? If this really was a pervasive pattern and using repeated tactics, he may legitimately, again, assuming all of this is true, it's not. I mean, he's innocent until proven guilty. He's not been found liable. He's not been found guilty. But just assuming all this is true, one of the things that struck me was he might not even remember it. It became so common that he wouldn't remember this happened to this person, this happened to this person,
Oh, he remembered.
this happened. It became so common that he may legitimately tell his attorneys, I don't remember anything about this. Is that something you've seen in your practice?
Ladies, listen up. The video showing the pink salt trick that melts belly fat while you sleep has already...
There's certainly the possibility, again, if these allegations are true, when someone's participated in so many events of abuse that sadly it becomes this addiction where they don't remember, like you stated, the individual events of abuse. And that's going to be very challenging for defending this case. You're going to have a plaintiff who this perhaps and probably was the most horrific experience that they've had in their life. They're battling with PTSD, anxiety, fear. They, even with intoxicants in their system, will probably be able to recall everything from the paint color of the room to the temperature of the room. It's remarkable that survivors of abuse, let alone trauma, recall about their events. For Mr. Combs, if these allegations are true and he's participated in hundreds upon hundreds of these events, sadly, these plaintiffs or victims were just another number to him, another night. Now, again, those are allegations. His defense team, as well as Mr. Combs, will decide how they want to defend these cases. Perhaps he does recall an individual or event or these allegations, and he can defend it specifically. But if the allegations are true, I think it would be very difficult for him to individually defend 100+ lawsuits in the events that took place, spanning over decades.
Parker, thank you so much for coming on and explaining this. I mean, it's just another eerie development, another chilling tale. Again, an allegation, but just Another chilling one nonetheless. Parker Steiner, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Dang it.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now
God,
here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber.
First introduction. When I knock on the door, people opens the door. So did you notice though, or you just think that you're going for what you usually do?
I think he's one of the most.
I signed the NDA before I went there, so like they kind of told me it was a celebrity client. Got you, but you didn't know it was going to be them. No. All right, so you let's. So
I'm trying to find. I just saw it. Hold on.
Puff opens the door. Pardon me?
I had a clue.
Oh, you had a clue.
Like I had. Yeah.
Got you. So you get there. Puff opens the door. How does that introduction go when you open the door?
I just saw the video.
I just dab him off and I walk in and he asked me if I knew who he was and I was like, no, and he tells me his name and I'm like, I knew who he was, but I was just like,
is this over?
And he was like, he did, he Puff Daddy, bad boy. I was like, and he played some music. I'm like, oh yeah, that's you. When he's like, well, let's go sit on the balcony.
He played his own music to let you know he was like he played bad boy music and shit. Yeah. So they dancing and shit. He just played the music when he
just played the music. And I was like, oh yeah.
All right. So, nigga play Puff a ill nigga. Nigga got theme music. So wow, nigga. So he opens the door. You walk in, and y'all go chill for a second. You said?
Yeah, like I walk in the room and it was like Ty was laying on the couch and the floor and shit. And I'm like right, central thing. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on?
Right.
He's like,
okay, here it is.
Sit in the back so I can tell you what's up. Right. And then we go to the balcony or whatever. And he's just like asking me about my career or how long I've been at.
Okay, I got it. Hold on. I got it.
What's good, boy? It's your boy Cameron and welcome back.
Hold on.
With Flea, man. We want to tell y'all thank y'all for subscribing to the channel. It's
I got it.
Day. We really appreciate y'all. I got a crazy yes after this, man.
Hold on.
You know we gotta get to that sponsor, Pink Horsepower. Fellas, if
you missed it. I got it for you, Cheryl. Come on, hold on. I got it. You just need to put it over here.
Be stiffer than a mannequin. Make sure you go get yours. Pink-horsepower.net.
Y'all better be listening with horsepower. Now, look, man, it's that horse. Okay, so why is it not going over there?
This is not. The Toggle Flea is not the hub for male escorts. It's just this is not what we gonna do. But it's just not, let's meet first and foremost. But
what in the world? Why I can't get this where I need it to be?
It's and this nigga who's supposed to, Jane Doe supposed to be somebody's baby mother too.
I don't know why. Hold on, I'm trying to understand. This is
Jane Doe with Diddy, who's supposed to be the big. It's crazy, but we gonna bring it in. The name is RICO, and we gonna interview.
Oh yeah, RICO.
Yo, RICO, what's up, baby? Fresh off trial.
Man, what's happening? I'm blessed, my dude. How you doing?
Shit, everything.
This the one that
for coming on the show. We really
he checked, did he? He checked his ass. He checked it. Hold on. Better get it up.
I can imagine.
And this gonna be it.
You would think of that you would get subpoenaed to go talk about.
He got subpoenaed.
Federal court case. So I know all this is probably a lot for you the last few weeks.
Yeah, man, they called me off guard. It's been a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. So listen, a lot of people are just getting clips off Instagram of what's going on in the trial or social media, all the shit, baller alert or Hollywood, all the gossip pages, and they may not know initially what's going on. They just
okay. There go RICO. RICO Suave. You see RICO Suave? I got it. I got to keep it up like this. Hold on. Let's go. He checked Diddy.
First of all,
now let's be clear. Diddy liked RICO. He wanted a threesome with Diddy and old girl. Okay? 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 Let's go.
For coming on the show, we really appreciate it, man. And
you can see it.
Lots
Okay,
been
let's
going
go.
on in the media and the news and
y'all
all the publicity
get my likes
trial. And I can imagine the last thing that you would think of that you would get subpoenaed to go talk about what you do in a federal court case. So I know all this is probably a lot for you the last few weeks.
Now, this is one they should have called.
It's been a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. So listen, a lot of people just get clips off Instagram or what's going on the trial or social media or the Shade Room or Baller Alert or Hollywood or all the gossip pages, and they may not know initially what's going on. They're just taking bits and pieces. So let's kind of run this down. How did this initially happen? How did Puff and Jane Doe get in contact?
I'm saying I could see why.
I went to the agency and they got contact with me through the agency.
Okay, what kind of agency is this?
Like a companion escort agency that also book like entertainers to dance for like bachelorette and birthday parties as well.
Okay, so wait a minute. Hold on. This may not be
ad exactly.
Hold on, this may not be.
It was at the Edition in Hollywood.
Okay, and how did that go when you first arrived there? So they reached out through this company that you work for, just so I'm clear. You get booked. When you get there, are you thinking you're going there to dance? Let's ask this question first. Is this what you do, or do you dance, or you also escort?
Okay, hold on.
I dance, but with this agency, it's a lot of the time when they book, it's like.
Hold on. I need to go to another. This is not the right site. That's not the right one. I need Cameron. Hold on. RICO, hold on. I need to go to his. I got it from his site. There's the one. Yeah, because it was on. They was on different sides.
Here you go, miss.
Hold on.
Traff.
Man, what's happening? I'm blessed.
Yeah,
this it.
How you doing?
You'll be able to see.
Well, thank you.
Oh, RICO.
We really appreciate it, man. And
Suave.
Lots been going on in the media and the news and
let's go.
All the publicity surrounding this trial.
I got you.
I can
there
imagine
you go.
the last thing that you would think.
There you go, Shelly.
To go talk about what you do in a federal court case. So I know all this is probably a lot for you to.
You know I ain't no good.
Yeah, man, they caught me off guard. It's been a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. So listen, a lot of people
yes
just get clips off Instagram or what's going on the trial or social media or the Shade Room or Baller Alert or Hollywood or all the gossip pages, and they may not know initially what's going on. They're just taking bits and pieces. So let's kind of run this down. How did this initially happen?
He all up in your face.
Puff and Jane Doe get in contact with you?
I work with an agency and they got contact with me through the agency.
Okay, what kind of agency is this?
Like a companion escort agency that also book like entertainers to dance for like bachelorette and birthday parties as well.
So the first time you met Puff and Jane Doe, where was this at exactly?
It was at the Edition in Hollywood.
Okay, and how did that go when you first arrived there? So they reached out through this company that you work for, just so I'm clear. You get booked. When you get there, are you thinking you're going there to dance? Let's ask this question first. Is this what you do, or do you dance, or you also escort?
I hadn't
dance, but with this agency, it's a lot of the time when they book, it's like a lady that wants to go to an event or a couple and the husband wants you to dance for his wife or go out to an event and be with her. Right. Kind of like a companion escort agency.
Gotcha.
A lot of times it's bachelorette days.
So, because when I spoke to Sheree, he was saying that this isn't what he does. He just usually dances.
No, they went, like I said, you remember when I said they went in strippers and came out hookers. They went in. Felix, do not come over here spamming. You know, all you have to do is say it one time. Yeah, don't come over here with that. You see Rico Suave and you start spamming, you get stuck. Yeah, you know, yeah, your hand gets stuck. You got that strong hand like Diddy. Don't come over here. You got that strong hand like Diddy. So they went in strippers. They went in strippers and came out hookers, male hookers. Let's go. So this is what he asked in him. They asked the Punisher. Punisher said he had never done it before either. Went in.
I was wondering, it's just mainly dancing. So explain to me, you get to the audition, you get to the room. What happens when you get to the room? You go up the elevator, get to the room. Who opens the door or who's there? How does this initial first introduction go?
When I knock on the door, Puff opens the door at first.
Fuck out of here.
And I walk in.
Get the fuck. Yeah. So did you notice though, or you just think that you're going for what you usually do?
I had to sign the NDA before I went there, so like they kind of told me it was a celebrity client.
Got you, but you didn't know it was going to be them.
No.
All right, so let's lay this out. You get there, Puff opens the door.
Clue.
Pardon me?
I had a clue.
Oh, you had a clue.
Like I had. Yeah.
Got you. So you get there, Puff opens the door. How does that introduction go when you open the door and you see his Puff?
I just dap him off and I walk in and he asked me if I knew who he was and I was like, no, and he tells me his name and I'm like, I knew who he was, but I was just like.
All y'all got something to say and y'all haven't hit the like button. Do me a favor. If you cannot hit the like button, leave. So the ones who have hit the like button, we can enjoy it. Y'all come in having something to say. Y'all asking questions. Haven't supported the platform. Shut up, sit back and watch it. If you don't want to, just leave. Just leave. Stop coming in asking questions. Google it. We having some live entertainment with Rico Suave. Hit the like button. Please. Double tap your screen on your phone or hit the thumbs up. Cause I at this time, yeah, Shirley, you better tell him y'all can leave, baby. But I know he looking good. He looking good. He looking good. Nice, deep, sexy voice. Diddy wanted this one, baby. He ain't want to be in the corner with this one.
He was like, Diddy fuck that.
They trying to mess up the vibe. Come on, Diddy get light.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's you. When he's like,
bye.
He's like, well, let's go sit on the balcony.
He played his own music to let you know he was like he played bad boy music and shit.
He wanted to dance around for him.
Shit, he just played the music when he
just played the music. I was like,
yes, he wanted to dance around for him.
Nigga play Puff a hell nigga. Nigga got theme music. It's a wild nigga. So he opens the door, you walk in, and y'all go chill for a second, you said?
Yeah, like I walk in the living room and there was like towels laying on the couch and the floor and shit. And I'm like, I'm like, all right, it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
Right.
He's like, yeah, come sit in the back so I can tell you what's up.
Right.
And then we go to the little balcony.
Right there. So he interviewing him, y'all. He interviewing him.
How long I've been with the agency or what I do.
Right.
And like we were in there for like 20 minutes. And he was like talking about he likes porn, and he's at a point in his career where he likes to curate and make his own porn. And then he started bragging. He was like, I got a girl in there sexy, you gonna love her. And then he tells her to come out. And she comes out in like lingerie. And we just like chill and smoke for about 30 minutes. And he was like, this is what I want to do. I want you to stand talking to her, I want her to stand at the end of the balcony. And like, it was like, all right, she's in the bar. You walk in and y'all just meet. And he tells her action and she just goes to like playing.
Hey,
like,
Cynthia.
Hey, how you doing? What's your name? So I'm like, all right, I'll just play the role, you know. And we do that for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, so get to the addition. Puff opens the door. He says, you don't know who I am. You tell him no. He start playing bad boy music. What would you tell him?
He said like 3 different names.
Diddy.
Then start playing the music.
Yeah, then start playing the music because you like, whatever, I'm here for work. Then he sits down and tells you that he wants to curate a porn and then tell you what the porn scene is. So he's directing this fantasy basically. So y'all was at a bar, so technically in his brain, he's just meeting his shorty at a bar.
Yeah.
Got you. But he laid this out to you before Jane Doe came out.
No, he told me that, but when she came out, he like said what he wanted it to be while she was sitting right there next to him.
Right. And you was at the bar, so to explain that scenario, like how'd that go? Like you just, without getting detail, y'all really role played that for him?
We ran that for like 3 minutes, and I was like, this kind of weird. And she was like, well, what you want to do? I was like, let me dance for you.
Right.
So we went in, and she was like, let me pick the 3 songs. She picked 3 songs she wanted to play.
Right.
And that's when I'm wondering why the towel was. I was like, what's all the towel was for? And she was like, you gonna see. So I started dancing, and she picks up the baby oil, and he's like instructing her what to say, what to do, and telling her to say certain stuff, and she kind of just following his lead. And as I'm dancing, I take my shirt off, and she like starts to pour baby oil on me, and he's telling her like, put the baby oil down, just sit back, kind of instructing her as I'm dancing.
Right.
And he pulls his phone out as I'm dancing for her, and I'm like, don't record me.
He really trying to make a movie for real.
He wanted him for himself. He wanted him in his phone.
A couple things you said, but I want to stay here. When you told him don't record me, what's his reaction to that?
He was like, all right, cool. He just like put the phone down.
With Diddy.
Oh man, I messed up. Listen.
Did you know that in Texas,
Diddy don't give men hard times.
Without a license?
He told Diddy no. What did Diddy do? He put the phone down.
I'm saying on the first initial meeting, was there any point during...
Hold on.
I want to get back to a couple things you said, but I want to stay here. When you told him don't record me, what's his reaction to that?
He was like, all right, cool. He just like put the phone down.
Right. But I see somewhere where you said it was still a laptop up, possibly.
Yeah, there was a laptop on the table next to him.
Do you think he was recording on that secretly, or you told him to shut that down as well?
I went and closed the laptop. Like when he put the phone down, I went up and I pulled the laptop down like that.
Got you. I also seen where you made it clear to him, because just for our audience, you're not gay, and you made it clear to him that you didn't want to be touched by him at all.
I got you.
You're also an MMA fighter, for what I'm understanding, and you showed him 2 of your fights to let him know, don't play with me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
To let him know you the bad boy.
Not me showing him that exactly for that reason, but he was curious about what I did, so I showed him the videos. And then she asked me, she was like, are you cool with doing the threesome? And I was like, no, I'm not cool with that.
Right.
then.
So he was asking him all those questions, like what you do, trying to see if he needed something, if he could tap into him so that he could, like offer to, or shit, I can help you, because he liked him. Diddy liked RICO. So that's why what you do, interviewing him. He ain't coming in with his face all covered with RICO. He went to the door. The servants didn't open the door for him. He did. Yeah. And now, well, tell me about yourself. What you want to know about this man for? Yeah, because you was going to make him part. And that's why old girl asked him, was he okay with a threesome? This is the first one I heard say that Puff wanted to be in on the action. This, come on, Rico.
Right. Was it any point during this, and we're saying on the first initial meeting, was there any point during?
But I'm not exactly for that reason, but he was curious about what I did, so I showed him the videos. And then she asked me, she was like, are you cool with doing the threesome? And I was like, no, I'm not cool with that.
Right.
And then never tried it.
Right. Was it any point during this, and we're saying on the first initial meeting, was there any point during this encounter with you and Jane Doe, did you think that Puff would try to join? Because when I spoke to Sheree about it, he said he couldn't get right because he kept thinking about Puff.
He was trying to see if he was going to be able
to join, because he said Puff was
dangle a carrot,
jerking off, watching him with Cassie. Did you worry about that when you were in there with Jane Doe?
No, and I always had her position to where I could see him.
Right. Was he jerking off, pause, while you was slamming his shorty?
He had his shirt off and he was sitting with his pants on. He had his hands in his pants playing with shit.
Wow.
It's crazy. And now, that's what I asked Sheree too, you know what I'm saying?
That's kind of beyond just a freak. I just ain't met that type of freak who just want to sit in the corner and beat his meat. I was laughing when the Fed said Diddy spent a lot more time filming the escorts than Cassie. Yeah, because I didn't know the Fed said that. I missed that. Yeah, because I've been telling my T-sippers he is not. They think it's about the win. No. He beat them, dragged them, because it's the men he attracted to. And when they don't want to do it, he can't hear that shit. He don't want to hear that. He needs to see some horse shit. I mean, some, horse meat. Huh? Because they all got to be well hung. Yeah. He don't care nothing about them. He want the men. That's why he was going to shoot him with the camera, with the laptop, and in his phone. Don't come in here asking questions. Did you hit the like button? My like button didn't go up. Did you support the platform? Don't come over here asking questions while we talking about this right here. Put your ass in timeout. Read the room. Don't ask nothing. Only way I'm going to ask the question if you put it on a super chat or super sticker. Yeah. If you want to know what's going on with the case, Google it. Don't rush me. We having some live entertainment. Ain't we, Shelly Shell?
You said it was mandatory. Was baby oil mandatory when y'all was...
Yeah, I had to tell her. I was like, it's too much baby oil. Like, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? Baby oil. We overdoing the whole baby oil thing.
Yeah, but what do you think that's about? Personally, he just want to see everybody shiny. Like, what do you think? Why do you think that? What your personal opinion?
Honestly, I can't answer. Right. I like the girl to be wet when I'm having sex, but that shit right there is just a little overkill.
Right, I got you. I got you 100%. So, how many times did you actually meet up with Puff and Jane Doe?
Jane Doe, yeah, twice.
Okay. I was seeing a lot in her testimony that she was saying, and not necessarily with you, she was just saying throughout these acts that she felt obligated to do this. She felt like she was just doing this because Puff was paying her rent. She never felt comfortable. It was times that Puff would have engagements with her and somebody else, and then go off with the current girlfriend that he had at the time. When y'all was together talking about you
just
and
the facts,
Jane
I
Doe,
agree.
did it seem like she didn't want to be there at any particular time, or did it seem like she was enjoying herself?
She was
It seemed
enjoying
like she
him.
was enjoying herself to me. Like, we was joked out, laughing, chilling at the same time, you know, and it didn't seem like she was uncomfortable or felt forced at all to me.
Right.
Now, see.
Did she orgasm?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seemed like she wanted to be there. She did what? Not to get too deep. Did she squirt? Is she a squirter? Okay. So you felt it. Did you think the orgasm was fake, or she just was doing that to entertain?
Look at his teeth, y'all.
You never know.
Right.
You never know.
I got you, man. And like I said, there was a lot of things that she said. Did you know about who she was? I know you said you knew who Puff was. Did you know who she was?
I didn't.
Right. Did you know that? Well, you didn't know who she was. Learning moving forward, did you realize that this is kind of what she does because she's been with other people? I want to make sure I don't use the wrong words here, but
gotcha.
You know,
gotcha.
Possibly, put it like this. I word it like
you
this.
pay for that one.
She said in one of her testimony that Puff used to threaten her with videos and said she's going to send it to.
Yeah, he kind of right. I ain't gonna even lie. She was cute, and then he smiled. It was like, oh shit.
After I had the first encounter, because when I got the NDA and the agency let me know that it was a celebrity client, I have a friend that's with the agency as well. Right. And I told him, and he told me, he was like, it's Diddy. And I'm like, what? Like, why would you say that? Right. Because he's with the agency and he was booked with them.
She said, fuck dumb shit now.
So, when I first opened the door and seen him, I was like, damn, he's right. Right. So after the encounter, I managed shows like the same show Sheree manages. I managed their show in New Orleans, in Las Vegas, in LA. Right. And he's in the show. And after the booking, I was at the show.
I thought I'd give you a treat since you said you was behind.
She was like, was this her? And I was like, yeah, that was her. Right. And he told me who it was. And then I was like, damn.
It's really satisfying.
Right. 100 fucking crazy. How far did these fantasies go? Like, I understand if, like you said, the encounter, but was it oral, anal? Like, was he directing y'all that far to shit that he wanted to see, or was it just regular sex with baby oil?
It was, she did give me oral, but it was pretty much regular sex with baby oil. Wasn't no like crazy shit.
But was he directing her throughout the whole encounter? I'm talking about?
Yeah, he'll tell her like switch positions. When she's doing oral, tell her stop and pour the baby oil or pour it on herself.
Stop.
Or it's like say certain shit, and she would
directing. He was directing. He was a movie director.
Fiber launched 1 gig internet. Some
He's
people
a
said,
pimp.
What would you even do with that much speed?
Wow. Did it seem at any time he would get jealous of what you guys were doing?
No, I didn't feel that.
You know why?
There was one time when she kind of caught an attitude with him. When she was giving me oil, I was like, damn, she nice with it. And he said, yeah, she's one of the ones on my A team.
Oh,
she's like, was like, I am the team.
Oh, gotcha. So
that's when she found out she was on a team. She didn't know that it was a team, y'all. She didn't know that she was on a team. He was pimping them for porn. Pimping for porn. Because he was really only into the men. So when he asked him, was he jealous? No. He wasn't jealous because he was into RICO Suave. Okay? Let's be clear. Let's be clear. That's when she found out she was on a team. Hell you mean?
Because of legal things, but
and let me let y'all.
Got you. Yeah, she.
When she was giving me oil, I was like, damn, she nice with it. And he said, yeah, she's one of the ones on my A team. And she was like, I am the team.
Oh, got you. Yeah, she. See, the thing is, I mean, like I said, I don't want to get too much into it because of legal things, but came out. You could have been on the B team. I don't know what the if you're on the A team. Yeah, you could have been on the B and C team. P, you feel me? I don't really get it. What the problem is, but yeah, man, this is crazy. How much was you getting paid for this shit?
The initial booking was 2, but I got 5.
Okay, each time.
Yeah.
So, because the initial booking was 2, right? Because that was to strip, that was to do the entertainment. But once he flipped the script and pulled them over to the side and told them what they really wanted them for, that's how it went up to 5. See, that's part of the coercion too, because these people went in as strippers and came out male hookers, fooling with Diddy. Yeah, just like the females came in thinking they was girlfriends, and came out being a part of a team that must perform with his male strippers. I mean his male hookers. Cause this right here. See, them the nipples. He wanted that juice on, what I call it, that icing, glazed icing on his nipples.
Okay. Did she ever try to reach out to you after you guys all did what y'all did? By herself?
Through the agency. No.
Okay, never personal. Okay, cool.
Never personal.
Got you. Yo, P, you got something to ask? I saw him up here with my co-host as well. You have any questions for Rico? Thank you as well, man. We gonna Rico, more minutes and we're gonna get you out of here.
Yo, Rico, what's up, my G?
What's happening, bro?
Let me ask you a question.
Rico Farm.
I know you gave him your dance name was Rico, so when you got subpoenaed and all that, how did they able to contact you and get your real name?
Oh, they never got my real name.
No, I know them, but for you to get subpoenaed.
But basically, we talked about it earlier just so he understood, even in the transcripts, it's not his name.
All right, copy. All right. Second question. You said you was just so
the Punisher said, when I saw him earlier today, he said Cassie gave up his name. Ricky Suave. Don't ever say make you feel special. Because they finna add stupid stuff. I think that's our Ricky Suave, baby. I think that's I don't need to, nah. I was trying to find that other cat. Talk about, that's all, Okay, I'm finna go to sleep. I've been working all day. How did I do, Shelly Shell? Gotcha. How I do with Ricky Suave. Typo jewelry. What? I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know. I bet Diddy been dreaming about him. Yeah, buddy. He wanted him in his phone. You hear me? He wanted. This the first one. I know Jules. Have you seen Jules? Before I go, yeah, because Jules is the one. He went to London. He went international with him. I think it was really Jules and Rico. He really kind of he asked for a threesome. You did great. You haven't seen Jules? Okay, before I go. I'm gonna have to find that one with that other cat. Let me go and pull up Jules. Yeah. His name came up a lot too because he traveled. He was international with them. And Jules is the one that, where my phone? Jules, I think they were saying was the one that she got drugged for down the hall when she was trying to leave. Oh, where is it at? Did I have him down here? Did I drop Jules? No, here we go. Yeah, that's the one she got in trouble for when she was trying to leave and he yanked her. That's this him right here. Your heart, what? He got music, but hold on. Let me see what I can do. You said, now, AunTeaFee, now, you're going to have to drop that. Take the red man down. Take the red man down, AunTeaFee. Take the red man down. Take the red man down for us. Your background should be. Now that would be funny, wouldn't it? Now that would be funny. That would be fun. This is Jules. I don't know why it got it looking all orange. That's Jules. That's Jules. Yeah, that's Jules 2024. Instead of Diddy, take that shit. AunTeaFee, take that shit down. What are we doing? Well, you know, I have to see what you got. You have all that up in there, and you got Diddy. You got Diddy. Hit your background. What are we doing, AunTeaFee? What are we doing? That's Jules. Okay. He ain't got nothing. No, he ain't got nothing. But them the two though. I mean, that other guy was fine too. He just, I don't know. But June, he got Jumper from KKK. I don't know what that is. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later. I need to go to sleep. I've been at this all day. Y'all have a good one. Please hit the like, share this out. Let's talk about it. Bye.